Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, the winds are really whipping outside, leading to a high risk for forest fires to get out of control. We could also see some strong storms overnight. This is a severe weather alert day, and meteorologist Evan Hatter joins us now with the very latest. Evan?
That's right, Steve. We are watching not only the storm threat, that comes later tonight, but the wind and fire danger threat has been the big calling card so far today. Let's go to the maps and you'll see we have a wind advisory in place for everybody running through early tomorrow morning. High wind warning also in effect just east of our counties there in southwest Virginia. Everybody is under the fire weather warning as we head through the remainder of tonight and into early tomorrow as well. Temperatures very warm out there into the upper 70s and low 80s. It's 80 in Jackson right now, 81 Prestonsburg, Pikeville, and in Logan. It's 83 in Charleston, West Virginia, and 84 in Ashland. Winds whipping out of the south, sustained 15 to 20 miles an hour. Factor in the gusts, and we are above 30 miles per hour in many spots. Peak I've seen from our local airports here, 41 miles per hour in London about an hour to an hour and a half ago. So winds are whipping out there this afternoon. That is creating the threat for fires. We've heard of the fire near Hardshell in Breathitt County. We've been watching to our south 2 areas of concern. One in the Wares Valley area in Sevier County, Tennessee. We've been watching coverage from our sister station, WVLT in Knoxville. They've been covering that. We had a picture of that a little bit earlier, but we're going to work on getting that back up. And then we also have what appears to be a significant fire, or at least a fire on the radar there in southeastern parts of Lee County, Virginia, east of Jonesville right now, that we are keeping an eye on. But that's not the only thing we're keeping an eye on. Look out to the west. Plenty of tornado watch boxes. One just went up for West Kentucky, and several tornado warnings into Mississippi right now. That whole line of storms will eventually work its way into the mountains as we head later on tonight. So we're near 60 for overnight lows tonight. Showers and storms with us. It'll be breezy as well. A busy night, busy afternoon turning into a busy night here in the Weather Center. I'll have the very latest on all of those threats coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. As our severe weather alert day coverage continues, WYMT's Dakota Makris is asking power companies how they are preparing to deal with the high winds and the risk of forest fires.
Our eyes are on the forecast today, but not only are we watching the changing weather conditions closely, so are local power crews. A wind advisory is in effect for the entire region from this morning through early Thursday morning. Winds could gust up to 60 miles per hour at times. The potential for high winds have put power crews on watch. Carol Wright with Jackson Energy Cooperative says their approach to severe weather is similar to how they get ready for winter weather. She says crews are prepped and ready to respond to outages. With the threat of forest fires, I asked her what happens if it gets near or destroys power lines or poles. She says they have to wait for fire crews to give the area the all clear before her crews can assess the damage.
Most utilities see straight line winds, very similar to tornado, but they're straight line winds. So yes, we've dealt with that before, and luckily that's usually just in an isolated area. It's not widespread through, several miles. It's very isolated.
As of now, the main threat for severe weather is in the western counties, which Jackson Energy serves. In Hazard, I'm Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
And of course, to stay up to date on changing weather conditions, you can always download the WYMT News and weather apps. A physics professor at Hazard Community and Technical College recently made a significant discovery in the world of astronomy. While he wasn't teaching, Dr. Jeremy Wood spent the last 2 years researching and running computer models. Dr. Wood's work has been focused on determining the existence of a Perihelion Border near Jupiter. And after a year of review, Dr. Wood's research was accepted in the Astrophysical Journal.
I'm extremely happy with the result. I discovered this barrier, which no one had discovered before, and so that was a very exciting discovery, and I hope to be talking about it at a scientific conference later on in October.
Dr. Wood says the barrier is essentially the point in which a centaur, which is similar to a comet, leaves the orbit of Neptune and Jupiter and begins orbiting Jupiter and the Sun. Dr. Wood says he's excited to share his research at a conference, as he mentioned, in Canada. That's in October. President Biden is touting his administration's new one-stop online resource to deal with the risks of COVID-19. It comes as the president urges Congress to provide more money to fight the virus before funding runs out. CBS's Deborah Alfarone reports from the White House, where the president rolled up his sleeve this afternoon.
As reporters peppered him with questions, President Biden received his second COVID-19 booster shot at the White House Wednesday, a day after the FDA approved it for people 50 and older. Earlier, the president announced the launch of his administration's new COVID website.
No longer will Americans have to scour the internet to find vaccines, treatments, tests, or masks. It's all there.
The website, covid.gov, is an online resource for COVID-related information. It features a new test-to-treat locator tool to help people find the more than 2,000 locations that offer COVID-19 tests and antiviral pills.
These are pharmacies and other places in your neighborhood where you can get tested, and if you're positive, you can get life-saving treatments all in one stop.
It comes as the CDC says the 7-day average of new COVID hospitalizations nationwide is at its lowest level since the agency started keeping track.
But the White House says it needs more money to stay ahead of the virus and any new variants that might affect the U.S. The president is urging Congress to provide $22 billion in emergency funding.
If Congress fails to act, we won't have the supply we need this fall to ensure the shots are available free, easily accessible for all Americans.
During a virtual hearing on Capitol Hill, Republicans expressed skepticism about the Biden administration's COVID response.
We've seen flip-flopping, we've seen mistakes, we've seen power grabbing, and we've seen political interference with the science.
Also Wednesday, the CDC officially removed any COVID-related travel warnings for cruises. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
The Biden administration has already stopped accepting claims for testing and treatment for uninsured COVID patients, and starting next week will no longer support reimbursements for vaccinations. RSV is the leading cause of hospitalization among babies in the United States, but we soon could have a new tool to fight against it. Right now, the only line of prevention is for higher risk babies, consisting of several shots during the winter months. Researchers at Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago are testing the first potential immunization against RSV for healthy babies using monoclonal antibodies. A recent phase 3 study found a single dose of the proposed vaccine was nearly 75% effective against serious RSV infections.
There's a better binding to the RSV virus, and so it is better at preventing the virus from attaching to and getting into cells where it can cause disease. The second modification that was made was to allow it to stay in the bloodstream much longer.
Researchers say if the currently experimental treatment receives FDA approval, it could be available by the 2023 respiratory virus season. Men who take a popular diabetes drug are 40% more likely to conceive a child with birth defects. A study published Monday in the journal Annals of Internal Medicine shows men who use metformin in the 3-month period before conception had a 40% higher risk of birth defects in their children. The research followed more than 1 million births between 1997 and 2016 of children born to women under 35 and men under 40. Babies born to women with diabetes were excluded. Some good news if you like avocados. Turns out chowing down on the tasty fruit is a great way to help out your heart health. In fact, a new government study found eating at least 2 servings a week, that adds up to 1 avocado, reduced the risk of having a heart attack by 21%. And eating avocado instead of eggs, yogurt, cheese, butter, or processed meats was especially beneficial. Experts say anything you can do to improve your heart health is a step in the right direction. The CDC says heart disease takes a life every 36 seconds. Before you run out and grab those avocados, though, financial experts warn you to get ready to spend even more for food. The USDA released its food price outlook for 2022, saying overall you could be spending up to 4% more for food by the end of this year. Dairy prices are expected to increase between 4 and 5%, poultry 6 to 7%. If you think eating out could save you money, think again. The USDA predicts restaurant prices will increase from 5.5% to 6.5%. Americans have mixed feelings about the future of the economy. A new report from business research group the Conference Board finds consumer confidence bounced back in March, but the board's expectations index, which measures a 6-month outlook for income and labor, declined. Respondents cited gas prices and the war in Ukraine as their biggest concerns. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Wednesday. The Dow closes down today, more than 65 points. We'll have more financial news in our next half hour. But straight ahead here on First at 4, the discovery of a new star leads to a record-breaking day in the world of space discovery.
And we've got fire weather in place now, as severe weather could work in later on tonight. I've got the very latest on the way next.